Hello everybody and welcome back to SAR11 Universe. My name is Jitch.
Morrison. Approaching the ring, the Cruiserweight champions of the world, Zack, Ryder.
Well, Ryder enters today's final episode of ECW on day 70 of his Cruiserweight Championship reign, which is a total of 24 days more than his first Cruiserweight Championship reign. But he's set to defend it here tonight.
The challenger from El Paso, Texas, weighing 215 pounds, Chavo, Guerrero.
The Misfits find themselves bleeding over here to ECW for this final send-off episode in which we're going to be seeing 3 championship matches all in one show. The first of which is for the Cruiserweight Championship, a WrestleMania rematch between Zack, Ryder, and Chavo Guerrero. I mean, admittedly, this one's not a table match, but we're still getting that WrestleMania rematch. Should be very interesting to see what these two can do, you know, in a pinfall-based match. Singles competition, that can really make the difference for some people. Yep, we're drawing ever so nearer to the end of SVR11 as we know it, because we are now on the final ECW period. There won't be ECW going forward. This is the last episode, hence 3 championship matches. Trying to send it off with a bang, not a whimper. So we're going to celebrate it for what it is, the developmental championships, the ones that are kind of there to help build up the people that need building, like the Cruiserweight title, the Hardcore title, and the ECW title. I mean, admittedly, people voted for CM Punk, and admittedly, I was about to say he doesn't really need building, but at the time, you know, he was just the whipping boy, he was the guy getting beaten. It was only after that vote that things had started going his way a little more, and that's only because of the stepping up and facing McMahon, you know? Without that fan vote to say that CM Punk was going to go for the Hardcore Championship, and Punk getting that interview where he was asked what he thought about his upcoming Hardcore Championship match, none of this could have happened. CM Punk could have just lived forever in that mask. Could have just continued being that guy that suffered loads of losses. As it is, I think he's, you know, he's not exactly, like, I'm not going to say he's made a miracle. He's not, you know, 100% wins now. But he's got, I think, what, 7 wins now to like 14 or 15 losses? Like, he's balanced it out quite a bit, considering it used to be like 3 to 13. This rebound has gone really well for CM Punk since almost aligning himself with Kane. I don't know what the future for those two is, if they're a tag team or if they're just 2 singles people who have a problem with McMahon. I don't know if we've seen the beginning of something or if it was just a one-night only deal. Nobody knows, but what we do know is that those two are taking Raw by storm right now, and they've been doing a pretty good job of it. Meanwhile, we're focusing here on SmackDown, where we've got the Misfits, who seem to be trying to almost replicate what the Legacy were. I don't know if that was the Miz's intention or not, but it's definitely what he's doing. Trying to give us back the feeling of when the Legacy were on SmackDown. Admittedly, Miz isn't quite Randy Orton. The other two might be on par with Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase, but Miz is not Randy Orton. He's got a long way to go before he reaches that level. But he's started off pretty well. You know, it was only last week that we saw the Misfits get their first match, and it was a loss at the expense of, after which Christian was chokeslammed through the floor by The Undertaker. There's no saying if we'll even see Christian tomorrow on SmackDown, or if he'll even be ready. I mean, the guy was burnt alive by the looks of things. He's really not going Chavo's way. Chavo's always been a bit of a flip-flopper when it comes to his win-loss ratings, though. 1 second he's doing alright, and the next he's getting annihilated. Well, Zack Ryder's looking to get his 3rd successful title defense, and I think it's about to happen. Yep. Got that Zack attack off on Chavo. And I think we're looking at a title retention in very successful fashion. Well, it was all it needed to be. Another defense for Zack Ryder.
Here's your winner and still the Cruiserweight Champion of the world, Zack Ryder.
Doing Miz and Morrison proud by keeping hold of that Cruiserweight Championship. Miz has made it his intentions clear. They want all the gold on SmackDown if they can get their hands on it. He wants those tag titles back, but interestingly enough, Miz has volunteered Morrison and Ryder to go for them. Because Miz wants to be the WWE Champion, as well as the Intercontinental Champion. Well anyway, Zack Ryder gets his 12th win here. Definitely separating him further from those 9 losses that he suffered in Season 1. You probably won't see him in action again for the rest of the season, because he's not booked to defend at Extreme Rules, and he's definitely going to compete on SmackDown. We don't double book, or I try not to double book people. So that's it for Zack Ryder in Season 1, I suppose. Wow. Well, here comes a guy who is living proof of why chasing a tertiary championship can benefit your career.
Test is scheduled for one fall, and it's for the Hardcore Championship. Approaching the ring, the Hardcore Champion, Vladimir Kozlov.
Well, Vladimir Kozlov, originally, I think he's got a record of 6-5. I think originally suffered 5 losses with very little wins, but since becoming the Hardcore Champion has been on a mean streak. He's done really well for himself. That championship has helped build his career in ways I can only imagine have greatly benefited him. And this is an interesting choice of an opponent.
The challenger from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, weighing in at 199 pounds. He is a member of the Hart Dynasty, Tyson Kidd.
Well, initially, we had a fan vote for the Hardcore Championship. That is the ruling of that title. And the vote stated that Tyson Kidd was not going to be the man challenging for the Hardcore Championship, that it was going to be Kozlov versus CM Punk this Monday on Raw. But due to the issues between Punk and McMahon, that is out the window. That has been completely and utterly scrapped. And McMahon has just gone against what you guys wanted. He's not even let you guys have another vote. He's just said, I'll just throw someone random at Vladimir Kozlov. So here we go. Tyson Kidd getting a Hardcore Championship opportunity. Tyson Kidd versus Vladimir Kozlov is very 2010 ECW, I know. Thank you, thank you. I try my best. This is, of course, as most all Hardcore Championship matches are, this is a no rules, Extreme Rules match, pretty much, whatever you want to call it. These two can go wherever they want. They can fight with whatever they want. As long as a pinfall happens in this match, it's all legal. Kozlov's first and I think only successful defense to date came just over 2-3 weeks ago when he defended the championship. No, sorry, that was his first successful defense. He's had 2 actually. He also beat Cody, I believe. But his first successful defense came at WrestleMania, just 2 days after he was awarded the Hardcore Championship, when he defended inside of a championship scramble match, which was a really tough gauntlet for him to have to face 5 people, including himself, 4 people, all trying to take his championship away from him. Kozlov ended up having to start the match, the 10-minute match. He had to come in at the beginning and dropped the title a couple times, tentatively, not officially, which is why those other people that won it are not recognized as official Hardcore Champions. And he managed to win it back, I think, within the last couple minutes, really. It wasn't very much. It really came down to the wire. A lot of back and forth. Tyson Kidd, I gotta say, when I first saw that he was the one that coming out for this Vladimir Kozlov, there was only one thought that entered my brain, which was that McMahon is obviously trying to give Kozlov what he'd consider an easy opponent, as he's probably trying to butter Kozlov up. You know McMahon's going to be up to something this Sunday at Extreme Rules when he faces Punk in an Extreme Rules match. There's got to be a catch to that. There's no way that the Raw General Manager, Mr. McMahon, is just going to face CM Punk one-on-one. There's going to be some kind of a catch. What it is, I don't know. But I can almost guarantee you that CM Punk is not going to face Mr. McMahon one-on-one.
He thinks he has it. That wasn't even close to 3.
Call me crazy, but McMahon is not a man of honor.
I think I saw a tooth fly out. The Soviet war machine using every part of his body to inflict pain. Kozlov is a living, breathing war machine.
Do you want to call him a war machine one more time? I get it, he's Russian.
Now back under the ring.
Kozlov heading over to grab a sledgehammer.
He's swinging for the fences with that sledgehammer.
Poor Tyson Kidd, man.
Who would do this?
Once upon a time, the first ever World Tag Team Champion. His partner left him. His wife left him. She's gone to SmackDown. And now he's just here on Raw, just getting dismantled by people. Keeps trying to find his way on Raw, even tried teaming up with Dolph Ziggler, and these things just aren't working out for him.
The force of Kozlov. Shoulders down, championship on the line.
I think that's it.
2,
Yep. Well, it was a good effort by Tyson Kidd. Admittedly, I don't know how happy everyone would have been considering he wasn't who was even voted into the Hardcore Championship match in the first place, if he had one. But, unfortunately for him, he definitely did not win. Yeah, them Pringles being a bowl, boy.
Absolutely amazing. We knew he
Tyson Kidd just suffered his 8th loss, while Vladimir Kozlov just picked up his 7th victory. So, we know who's definitely doing alright. But once again, this will probably be the last time you see these people within this season. It's really weird to think these records that I'm saying, these are their final records pretty much, unless they're booked for Extreme Rules, which none of these people currently, well, no one on ECW is. That's why they're on ECW, fighting for a championship. Because they're not booked at Extreme Rules or the rest of the week. This is their last appearance of this season, which is, you know, coming to an end pretty soon. Well, we've had a really impromptu change in our main event of the final ECW.
For the ECW Championship, introducing the challenger
Yep.
from Hollywood, California, Goldust.
Now, a lot of you are probably wondering what's going on here. That is definitely not Ezekiel Jackson. Interestingly enough, Ezekiel Jackson has obviously heeded some words he's heard somewhere, because he's decided that he's graduated from ECW. He's used that ECW title for all that he needed it for. He's got that elevation, and he says that coming after Extreme Rules, he's going straight for the United States Championship, no matter who's holding it. So, I guess Ezekiel Jackson has basically just said that he's turning down coming back to ECW and trying to recapture his championship. Which, to be fair, with an 8-4 win-loss record, Ezekiel Jackson's definitely looking more like a guy who belongs on Raw than on ECW. I'll absolutely credit him to that. So, he's turned it down. Goldust then very quickly took it. As you may or may not know, obviously NXT is the future of ECW. That's what it's going to become. And the color scheme for NXT, for anyone that doesn't know, is yellow and black. So, I guess Goldust just decided he wanted to try and be the poster child for NXT the moment it comes in. I mean, sure, why not? Wade Barrett just recently suffered a loss to Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think he's got a little bit of a redemption to try and achieve in this match. He needs to get this victory over Goldust. Otherwise, Stone Cold's got to face Goldust as well, because that's part of his champion's gauntlet he's going through. Both superstars are on SmackDown after all. And this will be Goldust's 4th win if he can get it, or his 6th loss. Whereas for the ECW champion himself, Wade Barrett, this will be his 6th win if he wins, and his 10th loss if he loses. So as you can see, that's kind of more what the ECW Championship is here for. It's for the people whose win-loss ratios are a little less in their favour, and it's their attempt to try and redeem themselves, or if they're new, it's their attempt to try and build themselves up. It's one of those things, and that's exactly what it's going to be come NXT as well. ECW Championship is going to remain on NXT, and it is going to continue to have that exact purpose. In fact, there is a special rule that is out there, and we'll be hearing about that in the future, but I won't be saying when. There is a certain let's just say there is a certain merit to be achieved as ECW champion that once you hit it, something special happens, and that's all I'm gonna say. Maybe one day we'll see it. Right now, though, we are watching as Goldust faces Wade Barrett. The ECW Championship, one thing that it has been kind of encompassed in, so to speak. I know this sounds a little crazy, but one thing that the ECW Championship has been absolutely surrounded by is the fact that no one is ever actually able to hold on to it for very long. It's on its 4th champion, and the first 2 lost it in their first defense. We really thought that Ezekiel Jackson was starting to add something to that, but admittedly, I think he only had 1 successful defense before dropping it himself. So whilst there is a little bit of redemption there for it, yeah, 1 successful defense, and then he dropped it to Barrett. And what a defense it was. Ezekiel Jackson versus Rob Van Dam is a match I'm pretty sure a lot of us will never forget, or won't forget anytime soon. You probably will forget about it, let's be honest. Wade Barrett just beating the hell out of Goldust. Last time we saw Goldust, I think he ambushed The Rock. Lost an Intercontinental Championship Contenders match. Now obviously these win-loss records will reset in Season 2, but their overall win-loss record will still be acknowledged. So, I won't mention their overall win-loss records anymore, but you can still check them out on the wiki whenever you want. They are there. I have a separate section for overall win-loss records and a section for SVR 11 is what it's referred to as rather than Season 1. The win-loss records are there for each individual thing, but going forward, once we move to 12 and we're on the next season, I'll be only acknowledging win-loss records to do with 12. That's not to say that, you know, at the beginning, we're not going to be basing people, we're not going to be booking people based around what they've currently achieved and whatnot. That'll probably still be a thing. I'm going to try, once again, other than obviously stories that I currently have going myself, like the McMahon one, I'm going to try to let the game book again, just a little bit, because I remember when I first ever started Universe, 12 was great at booking, if I remember right. Like, it booked some nonsense, I will admit. I'm not going to pretend that it's perfect, but I think it did a much better job. I think 12 was one of my favorites when it came to Universe, because they went the complete opposite of what modern Universe is. And a cutscene would happen almost every match. Stories were constantly developing in 12, if I remember right. Well, this is just a plain old destruction of Goldust. So this is exactly what Wade Barrett needed in his reign as ECW champion. He needed a very strong performance, especially after that loss to Stone Cold. The thing is, Stone Cold, yeah, he's on a tear at the moment. He's going through everyone on SmackDown, every champion that he can. But what I will admit, I'm not no fool. And what I will admit is that is obviously very damaging to the reputation of every champion that Stone Cold beats. Oh, I thought he'd have the winds of change. No, he's just got a big boot. My least favorite signature to try and hit. A really tight feeling chest all of a sudden. I feel like the air is really thin in this room. Try to
Goldust is
light a
always
candle. That'll
embroiled in
help.
controversy in the WWE. Wow, did you see that? That was unreal. Never short on confidence is Wade Barrett.
See, I really don't like big boots and stuff in this game. These running moves are just the worst. And then when you finally manage, like, they reverse it every time. Barrett's able to turn that pin attempt around on Goldust, and that's it. That's all it took for Barrett to successfully defend the ECW Championship and make it past day 14 as ECW Champion. Well, I wanted ECW to go out with a bang, but I'm starting to feel like maybe that was a bit of a whimper. There were 3 championship matches, but they were all quite one-sided. It happens sometimes. It happens. I mean, to be honest, that's what ECW is supposed to be about, and that's what NXT will be about. You may not like squash matches and one-sided matches, but in the end, it's the uprising of one person whilst the continued downfall of someone else. It can't not be that, because it's the place to build yourself, and not everyone's going to be able to build. So, unfortunately, in this case, Goldust wasn't able to build, and Wade Barrett is still your ECW champion in the final episode of ECW. And now we go on to the part that nobody likes, except for some of you. Some of you like it, I'll be honest. You know, I'm not gonna, like, pretend that no one likes it. The news and the rankings, which I'll be trying to write on the wiki in the future as well. Probably not the news. I'll probably make up my own news rather than like what the game says, because the game is usually just like, they're allies, they're enemies. Turned his back on the fans. It never really says anything like, you know, just summing up results and saying that, like, what someone thought of something or anything. Vladimir Kozlov and Tyson Kidd are now enemies. Okay. There were no women in this show. There was nothing to do with tag teams. Ryder is now the number 1 contender for Miz's title. That's a little awkward, but he's not going for it anyway, so it's fine. Mark Henry has ascended above Goldust because, you know, Goldust lost the match and Mark Henry hasn't in a while, I guess. Oh yeah, Christian Kofi also dropped. Just finally mentioning that. And Stone Cold Steve Austin and R-Truth take a jump up so that Chavo can take a drop down to rank 10. For the World Heavyweight title, Wade Barrett finds himself into the top 10, and Kofi Kingston drops to the very edge of the top 10 as Barrett takes number 9, and Kofi drops from 9 to 10. Good to see Barrett doing well. That's what the ECW title is all about. It means that Barrett may have already outgrown it a little bit if he's in the world title hunt. But that's, you know, it's whatever. Those ranks will be completely erased come 12 anyway. He'll have a whole new set of ranks that it just made up based off of the simulations that I had to do to get to Over the Limits month. Anyway, so on the final SmackDown of Season 1, what can you expect? Well, that right there, that's what you can't expect. You will not be seeing Chavo against Goldust and Mark Henry. You will definitely not be seeing The Undertaker against Wade Barrett. Stone Cold will not be facing John Morrison, and Christian will not fight The Big Show in an Iron Man match. None of those will be happening. So what can you expect on the final SmackDown before Extreme Rules? Well, that is a good question, isn't it? Well, we've already been told The Undertaker will face The Miz, and if The Miz can defeat The Undertaker, he will join the WWE Championship match at Extreme Rules. We've also been told that Stone Cold Steve Austin is continuing his warpath through the champions. So far, he's beaten the Cruiserweight champion, Zack Ryder, and the ECW champion, Wade Barrett. Next up in line is the tag team champions. So it'll be Stone Cold Steve Austin versus either Evan Bourne or Kofi Kingston. We've then also got to think about the Intercontinental Championship scene. Maybe something to do with The Rock. The Rock needs to kind of, I think, establish himself a little bit more on the road to Extreme Rules. So that's why I'm saying that The Rock is going to go one-on-one with John Morrison, the other member of the Misfits. Why wouldn't he? You know, that feud has got to go somewhere. After all, it's been revealed that they're going to face off in a last man standing match. So they really need to start crossing each other's paths a little more than that 6-man tag last week. And as for the other match, the 4th match on the show, well, I don't actually have anything planned for that. So that one will just be a surprise. And I'll see you guys on the final episode of SmackDown before we move on to Season 2 and kick off a new era of SmackDown, which won't have X's all over it because it's no longer the 10th anniversary of SmackDown. according to the game. Not us, because SmackDown has only existed since November in this universe. I'll see you guys in the next episode, though. As we are so close to Extreme Rules, I say bye for now.